Hi, my name is Gregory Ivo, and I'm currently an intern working at Eclipse IoT. This is the second part of my code-free smart agricultural demo. If you've not seen part 1, I highly recommend that you watch it first before watching this video. Anyways, let's get started. So, as discussed in the previous video, I've already installed all the software between two different machines. Machine number 1 is my local host, and I'm running Eclipse Kapua and Eclipse Kura, and Eclipse Mosquitto. And on another machine, I'm running Streamsheets. So, firstly, let's get our Arduino configured. So, our NodeMCU, the wiring schematics will be in the GitHub repo. Essentially, all we have to do is connect it and change the preferences in the .h file so that it can connect to our wireless network or your wireless network and point to your IP address for your Mosquitto server, and then upload the code and you're ready to go. It should read everything and it should work perfectly fine. And that's as much code as you're going to need for this entire demo. And if we open up the serial monitor, we know we've successfully installed the software. When we see serial monitor, reset it by power cycling, and we can see it's connected. Now it's attempting to publish. The ID of this device is PlantBoy1. And after publishing data, it's going to go into a sleep state, or it's very low power. And it should take around 30 seconds to send another message. And essentially we'll reboot the entire device and reconnect. And this way we save power. We're now complete with the Arduino. To prove it, let's open up MQTT Explorer. And we're going to connect to my local host. And this is the port at which I'm running my Mosquitto broker. And we see plant data being published. Let's get Kura connected to our local Mosquitto broker. So since we're using Docker and we have two containers running in the same machine, those containers can't talk to each other unless we create a bridge network between them. So step 1, hit networks. We're going to add a network. We're going to call it whatever we want, bridge network. Set the driver as bridge, and perfect, create the network. I've already created it. So for my instance, in my example, I'm using this Kapua network, which I've already bridged everything, but I will go into explaining it. So whichever Docker containers that need to be connected, we must bridge. So firstly, for this current thing, I have Kura and Mosquitto, and I want them to talk to each other. Therefore, I must bridge them both. So first, let's open up Kura, and we're going to hit Kapua network, and then join network. I've already have it attached to it, so it's not going to join. We'll go back to our dashboard, hit containers, go to our Mosquitto broker, and Kapua network, join. Okay. Once again, same error. So now they're in the same network, and there's a different IP address that you need to use in order to make communications within this network. So now that that's out of the way, let's open up Eclipse Kura. Eclipse Kura, generally the web portal's on port 8080, but I set it to 4000 on this host machine so it doesn't conflict with Kapua. So let's open that up. And the default password is admin, ADMIN, ADMIN. Okay, the fresh install of Kura. Let's hit new connection. We want a cloud service. So begin typing org.e apply, and it's going to give us a suggestion. I find it a lot easier just to copy and paste that suggestion. And this is going to be the connection to the local Mosquitto broker. So let's hyphen Mosquitto. So firstly, let's scroll the way down here. We're sending simple JSON messages. So let's change payload encoding to simple JSON. And now we have to change the custom name. So we want to set it as custom. And let's look at our MQTT Explorer, because we need to match this naming scheme here. So the way it works is we're going to have account name, client ID. So account name, this is the client ID. This is the app name, and this is the app topic. We have to set our device name to PD1. So custom device name, PD1, and you're gonna have to put this in 2 different spots. So I highly recommend that you copy and paste it. So copy and hit apply. Now let's move over to the MQTT transport tab. And this is the second place where you have to paste it. PD1. And username and password, this is all dependent on what you configured when you installed the MQTT Mosquitto server. I'm going to put in my credentials. And account name, in this instance, we just leave it the same because that's how I configured the Arduino file. And lastly, we need to get the broker URL. So if you're doing a bridged configuration like I am, you get the URL by going to your network, or you can even hit your Mosquitto broker. You scroll all the way to the bottom. You see where it says the bridge network that you created. For me, it's Kapua network. And we see IP address, copy and paste it. And now we should be good. Hit apply. Yes. Let's test our connection. Hit connect. We're good. Now we need to create a publisher and a subscriber. Let's create a new pub. First, let's do the let's do the publisher. I'm going to copy and paste that because we're going to need to use that later. And make it a publisher. Hit apply. And now if we select the publisher here, we see the application name, application topic, default application name, and application topic. We don't want to make this publisher talk on the same channel as this. So I'm going to actually change the application topic. Let's make it echo. So this way it will publish somewhere completely different and it won't conflict with the current MQTT from the NodeMCU. Hit apply. Yep. Now let's create the subscriber. New pub sub. Change this from .cloud publisher to cloud subscriber. Hit apply. We see W1, A1, and then this is like a wildcard. We want to specifically have it set to plant data. So now it's just targeting our little planter directly. Hit apply. And now we should be good. I'm going to disconnect and reconnect. Now we have to go to the wire graph. So this is the magic. This is the Kura magic where you can define data flows. And first, subscriber, we want to subscribe to a topic. So let's call it local MQTT. So you see this dialog at the bottom. Hit select available targets. Scroll down and we can see mosquitto.sub. Now that's configured. Now let's get a publisher. We gotta set the PID to mosquitto.pub. And now the fun part, we link the two together, hit apply, yes, and we're done. So when you first start up Streamsheets, you're gonna have some demo projects here. And what you're gonna have to do is hit this hamburger menu, go to administration, and all of these connectors are already pre-configured by Streamsheets. So if we hit consumers, we see MQTT consumer. So if we hit this more switch, we could see the username and the password, and we can reveal the password. Now we have to move these credentials into Kura for the new connection. Creating this connection to Streamsheets is just like we did before. So open up Kura, go to Cloud Connections, create new connection, make sure it's a cloud service, Streamsheets, hit apply. So first things first, let's make sure we highlight Streamsheets. And if we scroll down here, we gotta set this to simple JSON. That's a small little thing that if you forget, it won't work. Excellent. Now we have to figure out custom device names. So we want to set this to custom, call it PD1, copy and paste it. Go to the next one, and on client ID, copy and paste PD1. Okay, so remember, in Streamsheets, if you look here, there's a base topic. You can change this, but for demonstration's sake, I'm going to leave it the same. And I'm going to copy this. So essentially, our account name needs to be cdallo because that is the base topic in which Streamsheets will look for. So if we open up Kura, we can set the account name to cdidle. So now we should put in the URL of our Streamsheets server, our password, and our password. Excellent. Apply. And let's test our connection. Perfect. Now we have to create the publisher. So let's call it streamsheets.pub. Make sure this is set to publisher. Hit apply. And now here we can fill in the rest of our information. A1 plants. Okay. So before we go to Streamsheets, we have to set up the flow, create a new publisher, hit OK, click the correct PID, which is streamsheets.pub, hit apply, actually not yet, and now the fun part, connecting the stream. It's very satisfying to do, and apply. So now we should be all set up in Kura, and we have to do one last thing in Streamsheets. What that is we have to go to our MQTT, and we have to set the topic. So that's what we've been slowly building. So this is a topic, and we already have this base topic covered here, so we can remove this from here. And hit save. And there we go. We should be good. Now we can actually create our stream machine or our application. So new app. We want the MQTT consumer. And let's call it plan demo. Add. Before we do anything, we want to see some data here. We have to hit play. And now we wait for an MQTT message and it'll pop up here. Perfect. Everything is here. So if we actually want to leverage and use this data, all we simply have to do is grab the JSON or grab whatever field we want. This is a JSON field, and just drag it into the spreadsheet. I want the humidity here, and I want the height. And then from here, we can start creating charts and making functions. So for instance, let's create an example. Let's say an important metric was a summation of all these data points. Just like Excel, I can hit sum and make my collection, hit enter, and I've calculated my metric. So now let's connect Kura to Kapua. The first thing is, in my setup, Kura and Kapua are running on the same machine, and we have to link the containers together using the bridge connection. If we notice here, we can see that Kapua is actually split into a bunch of subservices. And in order for us to actually bridge it, we have to bridge the correct subservice. And since we're going to be connecting via MQTT, we need to find the Kapua broker, which has usage of the port 1883, and add that to our bridge network. So if we click the name, scroll all the way down, join a network, Kapua network, hit join, and there we go. Ignore my error because I already have it added. Kapua defaults to port 8080, the web UI, open the web UI, and you agree with the login screen. The default password is Kapua sys and Kapua password. And now we're inside. So in order for us to get started, we must first create a actual user for our MQTT device. And it's sort of like a tenant. And that is the name that it'll be logging into. So first we have to hit child accounts. There is a document that will be listed in the repo that shows you exactly what I'm doing, so you can do it yourself, or you can just follow along with me. So let's add, and we're going to call this account 123, organization name, doesn't matter, email, and submit. Create the account. Excellent. So now we have to give this account appropriate permissions. So let's go to account settings, and we're going to set all these to true, except tag service. So hit the true, save, true, true, save. Make sure I'm recording. True, yep. Save, yep. Drew, save, yep. Okay, let's do one quick check. Tax service. Okay, so account 123 is a child account of the Kapua sysadmin account. And then from that account 123, we must create another account which Kura will use to connect to Kapua through. So click add, and we're going to call it user123 for this example. Set a password. Submit. There's our user. So before we leave Eclipse Kapua, let's create a device. And client ID, plant man as in manager. And I'm going to just make it both plant man, plant. We're going to need this later. So make sure to copy it, put it in a notepad so you don't forget it. Kura Cloud Connections. And just like before, we're going to create a new connection. Make sure it's a cloud service. And start typing Kapua. Okay. Custom device name has to be plant man. Make sure this unique device name is set to custom. And go all the way down. Payload coding must be Eclipse protobuf, which is unlike the other two examples. Let's apply. Yes. And now let's move to the MQTT data transport tab. And this is where we have to start filling things in. So first, let's fill in the client ID since it's already in our clipboard. Paste should be the same as before, as we did in the previous tab. Let's save that. So this account name is going to be the top account that we set up. So in this case, it's going to be account 123. And make sure you spell it correctly because it has to exactly match what we wrote previously. Username, user123 as per example. Password, same password we wrote previously. Hit apply. Yes, and I want to make sure that I spelled all these correctly. So let's take a look at the users. Capital U, account 123, looks good. And now do the final test. Let's highlight it. Before we do that, let's enable auto on startup so that when we start up the service, it automatically connects. And now we should be ready to go. So let's connect. Failed to connect. And I forgot one important thing. We got to set in this broker URL. So as mentioned before, we're running Kura and Kapua on the same machine. So we got to look at the bridge IP address. So let's open up Portainer, dashboard. Let's go to the containers. And let's find our Kapua broker. Here's our Kapua broker. And let's open it up. Scroll all the way to the bottom. And here we can see our Kapua network IP address. Copy that. Put that in here. And apply. Yep. Connect. There we go. Refresh. Make sure it's connected. We're good. So just like before, we're going to create a publisher. New pub sub. Cloud publisher, and we'll call it Kapua pub or Kapua.pub. Hit apply. So this is our application name. We can configure this to whichever we want. So let's call it plant data. Now, let's go back to the wire graph. Getting everything connected is a matter of hitting a publisher, calling it Kapua pub, or call it whatever you'd like. Set the PID for the node. Drag it together. Hit apply. Yes. And our flows are done in Kura. Let's refresh this again. Everything is connected here. Now, if we look at Kapua and we see our devices, we can see the plant man is connected. And if we look into data, if we wait a little bit, there we go. We have plants, plant data, and we can see a bunch of metrics. We could actually query these metrics And now we can see the history of all the data that's been sent to Kapua. Kapua will actually store this data. Before we end the video, I'd like to say one last thing. What we did here today barely scratches the surface of what is possible with this software suite. All these projects that are used are extremely extendable, feature-rich, and have an active community of committers behind them. If you like what you saw here today, I highly suggest that you check out all the other amazing projects available on the Eclipse IoT website. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.